Thank you for joining us today, ladies and gentlemen. Today's show is brought to you by My Patriot Supply. Visit preparewithk2d4.com today and save 20% on a 4-week emergency food supply. Delicious meals that provide a 2,000 calorie a day, and with a 20% savings, you can't pass this up. Again, that is preparewithk2d4.com, and your purchase helps support the broadcast. Ladies and gentlemen, on this episode of Talk is Cheap, we're going to take a look at the Boianai UFO. This was in Papua New Guinea, 1959. Yeah, these beings on this UFO, this didn't land. They came out and actually waved to other occupants, us, I guess, I should say, on the Earth. Very interesting story. Let's cover this next on Talk is Cheap. Welcome to Talk is Cheap, where cheap is talk and talk is cheap. This is episode 161, ladies and gentlemen. And to my left is Pete Hulblive.
How's it going, planet Earth and beyond?
Beyond the Matrix, right?
That's right. Hey, underground base on Mars, sending love your way. Hang in there, man. It's beautiful back on Earth, but I know you're doing good work.
The Boianai UFO. Have you ever heard of this, Pete?
I have not. This is the first time, but I know that Papua New Guinea is ripe with really cool, out-of-this-world experiences. So I am excited to talk about what the heck you dug up for us, Dano.
So in June 1959, there was this UFO incident, and a lot of this was documented by Father Gill. So, in a nutshell, as I said in the intro, there's this UFO, Papua New Guinea. They come out of this craft and they see him up there looking at him, and then they wave at them in the UFO, and they actually wave back at him. Now again, they're outside of the craft, on top of it. So let's get a little bit of a background, and we can come back to that point. So on April 5th, 1959, at the Angelican Mission Village in Boianai, Papua
New Guinea.
New Guinea, yes. Angelican Church had sent Father William Booth Gill to lead the mission. He's seen a light on the uninhabited Mount Pudi. So this is a mountain there. He sees a light up there. No different from any other UFO case. So the light moved faster than anything he had ever seen. A month or so later, his assistant Stephen Moy saw an inverted saucer-shaped object in the sky above the mission. Gill dismissed these sightings as some sort of electrical or atmosphere phenomenon. On June 26th at 6:45 p.m., Father Gill again saw a bright white light to his northwest. 38 individuals had witnessed this, who saw a disc-shaped UFO the size of 5 full moons strung together. 5 full moons, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, strung together.
Pretty interesting. You hear that?
Big.
You hear that a lot in encounters, right? Lights in a line and stuff. In sightings. That's interesting.
The UFO had 4 legs like landing gear, but was high in the sky. So again, it didn't land, but the landing gear was out.
Interesting.
4 beings similar to humans emerged from the object. They appeared to be working on something on their ship. The beings would go inside the object and then soon return as the fetching tools. Working out there, you see them go in, down, come out.
Come back out. Yeah, what the heck are they doing?
It's like what they're doing.
Out. Yeah, right?
This craft was visible for 45 minutes, rose up to the sky, and disappeared at 7:30 p.m. 45 minutes later, many witnesses remained, still pondering the sight they had seen. Soon, several objects smaller than the previous UFO appeared in the sky. About 20 minutes afterward, the first UFO was back in view. The sightings of the larger UFO would last 4 hours as witnesses would come and go. 4 hours. Four
Dude,
hours.
That is a long sighting.
That gives you plenty of time to sit and draw it, listen to it, kind of study it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
That's so interesting, Dan, is that some of these UFO encounters are not just a fleeting glimpse of something flashing. I mean, it's 4 hours after, the first few minutes, it's pretty unmistakable what the heck you're looking at, right?
25 witnesses signed their testimony to the sighting. A heavy cloud cover ended the event at 10:50 p.m. So again, sighting started around
6:45, right? And then 10:50, 4
yeah,
hours and 5 minutes.
10:50. All right. The next night, the giant disc-shaped UFO returned at 6 p.m. Two of the smaller objects flanked it. Father Gill and many witnesses from the night before watched the unbelievable sight. Now, this is a quote. On a larger one, two of the figures seemed to be doing something near the center of the deck, said Father Gill. They were occasionally bending over and raising their arms as though adjusting or setting something up. One figure seemed to be standing, looking down at us. Gill then waved at one of the creatures, and to our surprise, the figure did the same.
Waved back.
Very interesting.
Why are they going to this spot to work on their... They worked on it one night. And they say, hey, we got to go back to this mission and work on it some more. That's kind of unusual that they would do that unless they were setting up some sort of, surveilling equipment or otherwise experimenting on the folks.
Excuse me.
Gill went inside to eat, but when he came back, the craft was still there, only further away.
Wait a minute. You're seeing a UFO up in the sky, people walking around, and you're like, you know what? I could really go for a ham sandwich right now. Let's go inside and eat. I suppose, after the first 6 hours or 4 hours or whatever, you're like, whatever.
Right. It's like, well, what are you going to do? You're getting hungry. You got to get something to eat.
Yeah, big deal. It was here yesterday. Right?
Again, folks, this is back in 1959, so you can't go photograph it, do all this other shit that we'd want to do.
But you've got a person of the cloth coming out and saying this.
Yes.
So that's interesting.
After a church service at 7:45, Gill again came outside to look for the craft, but clouds had appeared, and there was no sight of the object. The very next evening, the shining craft would make one more appearance. Gill encountered 8 of them at 6:45. At 11:20, Gill had heard a loud bang on the roof of the mission. Going outside, he's seen 4 UFOs in a circle around the building. These 4 craft were extremely high in the sky. The roof was checked for damage the next morning, but there was none found.
No damage found. I wonder if they hit it with some sort of sonic, sonar thing or something like that.
I don't know, man. I've never heard of that before. Well, I guess if you think of the movie like Sightings, was it? They were the aliens walking on the roof, though.
Oh yeah, that with Mel Gibson.
Yeah,
that was a pretty good movie actually.
It was all right, but it was the evil alien thing again. But
yeah, they were coming to take over, but we could just defeat him with water. So good thing it didn't rain, right?
So veteran UFO expert, who I've kind of talked about, Dr. J. Allen Hynek. This was if you guys watched that. Doctor, he was kind of in charge of the Blue Book thing.
Hynek.
Interesting when he studies that. He thoroughly investigated the Papua event and concluded that they were genuine. No alternate explanation had been offered or to explain what had happened, except perhaps to say that UFOs and alien beings visited Papua in 1959. That's kind of what I have. Interesting story. And besides some sketches and, a couple other, artist renderings, there is no like photographic evidence available, no videos. I mean, it was 1959. It's not like everybody had a cell phone. I believe this is a sketch here from Father.
Used on the cover of his original something report, I guess.
I suppose it would be his documentation.
Yeah. I mean, he was, I'm sure he reported it to his officials and stuff too. Dan, I don't know what to think about this because you don't hear a ton of UFO stories where they're standing on the roof working on stuff with landing gear down. But Papua New Guinea is ripe with its unusual encounters. Flying dragons. Supposedly, there's a dinosaur Murray living in the lake down there. If you think about it, though. I'm not going to say it's a third world country. I'm not going to say it's untouched, but it's fairly remote. In 1959, it was fairly untouched if you don't consider World War II happening at it, 15 years earlier. But is New Guinea in and of itself is just, like I said, again, it is just flush with crazy stories of cryptids, encounters, flying dragons, weird lights in the sky. So for whatever reason, maybe there's, something, I'd have to look at the ley lines, or maybe there's some sort of, interest that UFOs, aliens would have with that region. But there is no shortage of really unique and cool stories to hear out of New Guinea.
There's actually a diagram we'll look at, but first, let's take a quick break.
Oh, that's
right. We gotta
sponsor
the show.
What do you got? We got to survive the apocalypse, Dan. What do you got for us?
We have to survive the apocalypse. It's upon us, folks. Prepare with K2D4.com, ladies and gentlemen. My Patriot Supply. They have done us well. They're helping support the show. We like to have sponsors that we can use, something that you guys can use. It's important to have good stuff here. Food is the number one thing that you need in life, and you need it. When chaos happens, you're going to want some storable food. We got a 4-week emergency supply, 2,000 calories per day, 284 servings. Again, they have a special here. Save 20% today. Free shipping. You can't go wrong.
No, and I'll tell you what, Dan has tried every single item they offer on that 4-week supply, and it passes his...
you got to try something else.
I will. I'll go pull something out. I had gotten some as well, but I put it directly into my... freedom cabinet, also known as my gun cabinet, to store for later. But you know what? I could probably fish something out of there and be all right.
I think I'm actually gonna make some more of this pudding tonight.
You like the pudding, do you? What's your favorite?
It's an open bag, so I got to finish it up. But
sure.
That tastes really good.
Yeah.
What's my favorite? That's a very good question.
Well, if you had to, pick your last meal out of this, what would it be? Not the mac and cheese. I know that. You said that was like okay.
I would say that it is between the creamy Alfredo pasta and the creamy stroganoff.
Oh, so you like
those were like
there. I could see that.
Those are pushing almost gourmet taste. That was
really?
Not that good. Yeah.
Oh wow.
Again, folks, even this powdered milk, I was surprised at the taste. I was like, this is going to have a little off taste. No,
you'd think
it tasted exactly like milk. I was very, very impressed with it.
Well, they took the water out of it, right? You added it back in. We had the cheesy broccoli soup, on the show one night. I thought that was good. I mean, it was as expected, but I mean, I'm not going to, claim that's like 5-star restaurant and anything like that, but it was good.
For sure. And 25-year shelf life, you can't go wrong. Again,
25
folks,
years.
Prepare with K2D4.com. It helps the show, and you're getting something good out of it. All right, so let's take a look at this. Now, this was a drawing here that they did to kind of break this thing down, a rough sketch of the UFO.
It looks like it descended from about 3,000 feet to 300 feet, according to his sketch. And in that time, it traveled about 1.5 miles in 3 minutes. So it was a slow descent from 3,000 feet. It looks apparently above the cloud cover, according to his sketch, and then drops to 300 feet, which is not that far off the ground. That's pretty close to the ground. There's a letter in there if you'd like to look.
Oh, here's some other sketches as well. Actually, I believe this one was kind of this really was the official
they saw a shaft of blue light. That wasn't mentioned yet.
That's right. Yep. Shaft of blue light clearly seen in this order at 7 point. Hard to read.
Oh, and then there's different sketches from different people, all showing landing gear, legs, or whatever.
Remember when I talked about the show I did last time?
Oh, well, that was a UFO.
Travis Walton.
Yes. The fire in the sky.
He had the blue light come out of the
Was it blue
crack.
or green?
It was blue.
Blue, which was a tractor beam of sorts, right? It lifted him up and sucked him into the...
But remember, he got shot with it first. It's like, bam. You seen that in that flash?
Yeah, that's right. And then he was limp when it actually picked him up and took him in.
So maybe this is something like that,
pointing the other way, though, right? It looks like it's coming out of the top.
It's probably directional. It can go up or bottom. I don't know. It's a theory.
Uh-huh.
That's all we got, Dan, right now. I mean, there's quite a bit of sketching and stuff on this. I mean, I know that there's no video, but I mean, somebody put some serious time to really document this. God, and what's tough too is that this thing kept coming back every couple days.
Yeah, that's very interesting because why would it do that? Like you said, there's got to be something going on there. Is there an underground base there? Are they...
Yeah, is there a cave or underwater base, right?
Are they mining some minerals in the area? There's so many questions that could be.
Now, Papua New Guinea is pretty mountainous, right? So it's probably on some sort of old volcanic range or something. Quite possibly there is underwater caverns there that they're accessing. I mean, I think that if we're going to assume that this ship can go into space and do all sorts of stuff, it can go underwater easily. And Dan, that's been kind of one of the things too, is like, people are saying, where do these UFOs go? Well, we feel, or a lot of people feel that, they're utilizing the ocean and underwater. We just don't have the maneuverability or knowledge or mapping of the ocean floor that we need. It would make total sense, right, to go underwater if we can't get to it. A submarine, how fast does a submarine go, right? You could easily escape one of those with an ion bubble around you that reduces friction, and et cetera, et cetera.
So this is Father William Gill here. I'm going to play a little bit of it. If this gets flagged, you won't be hearing me talk right now. So we'll play a little bit of it here. This is how he kind of describes it.
Hovering, not very far high up, maybe 200 or 300 feet up in the air, and glowing, and two bipods jutting out from behind it, from underneath it, and sparkling all around, and some figures up there. This solid-looking object, and figures walking about on top, and not the slightest noise whatsoever. And so we waved. Wouldn't it be wonderful if we could get this object down onto the playing field? And as we waved, wondering whether we'd get some recognition and whether perhaps they would understand what we wanted, they waved back.
Nice.
So I asked the boy to go quickly down, bring me a torch, bring me a pencil, bring me paper, and return as quickly as he can so that I can get any other events that occur and minute-by-minute movements, so that at least we'd be able to talk about it the next day.
Let's start drawing it.
Yeah, interesting.
Oh, yes.
This guy is not a charlatan. He's not asking for money.
No.
I mean, he's just accounting.
That was what's really interesting about this case, is he was pretty authentic. And again, 1959. This was like a little after Roswell, I guess, but before the whole UFO community got nuts trying to make a profit, how it is today.
Yeah, you're right. That's a really good point. There was not money, and this people would dismiss this out of hand as hogwash, and so. This guy had to have been worried about his quote unquote job as a missionary, right? I mean, if he's coming back and reporting this stuff, just again, multiple witnesses. Dan, apparently there was something in the water that kept making people hallucinate the exact same thing day after day after day, right?
Yeah. It's the LSD in the water.
Yeah, and apparently everybody just hallucinated the same thing. There was nobody saying, "Hey, what about the purple elephant over here?" It was all up in the sky.
Well, that's kind of what I have for you today, folks. I mean, like I said, there's not much stuff we can go on. This is just a case I wanted to talk about today. It is what it is. I thought it was very interesting. I did find this in that the new, I believe it was a documentary called "The Phenomena." Lots of good stuff in that video. Found this father talking about it. I was like, holy shit, I want to do some more research on that, because it was a small segment in that video, and that's all there was there to it. So
interesting.
Check it out.
Dan, you look at all of these accounts and they just stack up and stack up and stack up, and you get people that aren't in it for the money. You get people that have a lot to lose that talk about this. How at this point can you sit here and say that this is completely made up? There's something here going on, whether it's government, whether maybe it is an atmospheric phenomena that shows hovering, disc with people waving. I don't know. Maybe that is. I'm not a meteorologist, but boy, oh boy, Dan, every time we meet, every time we talk about this, it just adds more into that bucket that says there's something out there.
All right.
There's something to this, Dan.
All right. That's going to do it for us today, folks. If you have a voicemail, use that up. 1-256-510-5234. 1-256-510-5234. 1-256-510-K2D4. Just call in. We haven't had any voicemails this last segment, so I'd love to hear
folks.
some more.
Yeah, tell Dan how handsome he is, or yell at me about how I piss you off when my comments and stuff. All right, I'm the bad guy. But anyway, we'd love to hear from you, man.
We'll see you guys later.